Chapter 5 Names of Hells. At that time, Universal Worthy Bodhisattva Mahasattva said to Earth Store Bodhisattva, Humane One, for the sake of gods and dragons, those in the fourfold assembly, and all other beings of the present and future, please tell us the names of the hells where beings in the Saha world, on the continent of Jambudvipa, must suffer retributions for offenses they commit. Please also describe what happens during retributions undergone for evil, so that beings in the future Dharma ending age will know what those retributions are. Earth Store Bodhisattva replied, Humane One, based on the awesome spiritual power of the Buddha and relying on your strength, great Bodhisattva, I will give a general list of the names of hells and describe some of what happens during retributions undergone for offenses and evil deeds. Humane One, in eastern Jambudvipa is mountain range called Iron Ring. The mountain is pitch black because the light of sun and moon do not shine on it. A great hell is located there named Ultimately Relentless. Another hell is called Great Avici. There is also a hell called Four Horns, a hell called Flying Knives, a hell called Fiery Arrows, a hell called Squeezing Mountains, a hell called Piercing Spears, a hell called Iron Carts, a hell called Iron Beds, a hell called Iron Oxen, a hell called Iron Clothing, a hell called Thousand Blades, a hell called Iron Asses, a hell called Molten Copper, a hell called Embracing Pillar, a hell called Flowing Fire, a hell called Plowing Tongues, a hell called Hacking Heads, a hell called Burning Feet, a hell called Pecking Eyes, a hell called Iron Pellets, a hell called Quarreling, a hell called Iron Axe, and a hell called Massive Hatred. Earth Store Bodhisattva said, Humane One, within the Iron Ring are endless hells like that. There is also the hell of crying out, the hell of pulling tongues, the hell of dung and urine, the hell of copper locks, the hell of fire elephants, the hell of fire dogs, the hell of fire horses, the hell of fire oxen, the hell of fire mountains, the hell of fire rocks, the hell of fire beds, the hell of fire beams, the hell of fire eagles, the hell of sawing teeth, the hell of flaying skin, the hell of drinking blood, the hell of burning hands, the hell of burning feet, the hell of hanging hooks, the hell of fire rooms, the hell of iron cells, and the hell of fire wolves. Each of those hells contains lesser hells numbering from 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 to hundreds of thousands. Each of those lesser hells has its own name. Earth Store Bodhisattva told Universal Worthy Bodhisattva, Humane One, such are the karmic responses of beings in Jambudvipa who commit evil deeds. The power of karma is extremely great. It rivals Mount Sumeru in its heights. It surpasses the great oceans in its depth. It obstructs the path leading to sagehood. For that reason, beings should never think that minor bad deeds are unimportant or assume that they do not count as offenses. After death, there will be retributions to undergo that cover all those details. Fathers and sons have the closest relationship, but their roads diverge and each must go their own way. Even if they met, neither would consent to undergo suffering in the other's place. Now, based on the awesome spiritual power of the Buddha, I will describe some of the retributions for offenses that take place in the hells. Please, Humane One, listen for a moment to what I am going to say. Universal Worthy replied, I have long known of the retributions that happen in the three evil paths. My hope in asking the Humane One to describe them is that when beings in the future Dharma ending age who are doing evil deeds hear the Humane One's descriptions, they will be moved to take refuge with the Buddha. Earthstore said, Humane One, this is what happens during retributions in the hells. Offenders may go to a hell in which their tongues are stretched out and plowed through by cattle, or to a hell in which their hearts pulled out and eaten by yakshas, or to a hell in which their bodies are cooked in cauldrons of boiling liquid, or to a hell in which they are forced to embrace red-hot copper pillars, or to a hell in which they are burned by fire that constantly pursues them, or to a hell in which cold and ice are all pervasive, or to a hell in which excrement and urine are endless, or to a hell in which flying maces are unavoidable, or to a hell in which fiery spears stab them repeatedly, or to a hell in which they are constantly beaten on the chests and backs, or to a hell in which their hands and feet are burned, or to a hell in which they are bound by iron snakes that coil around them, or to a hell in which they are pursued by racing iron dogs, or to a hell in which their bodies are stretched by iron mules. Humane One, to inflict these retributions in each hell, hundreds of thousands of instruments made of copper, iron, stone, or fire arise from karmic force. Those four materials come into being in response to the kinds of karma offenders created. If I were to explain in detail what happens during retributions in the hells, then I would need to tell of the hundreds of thousands of sufferings that must be undergone in each specific hell. How much more would that be the case for the sufferings in all the many hells? Now, having based myself upon the awesome spiritual power of the Buddha, I have given a general answer to the Humane One's question, for if I were to speak in detail, it would take eons. Chapter 6, The Thus Come One's Praises. At that time, the world-honored one emitted a great bright light from his entire body, totally illuminating Buddha lands as many as grains of sand in billions of Ganges rivers. His strong voice reached to all the bodhisattvas, mahasattvas in those Buddha lands, as well as to the gods, dragons, ghosts, and spirits, humans, non-humans, and others, saying, "Listen today as I praise Earth Store Bodhisattva Mahasattva, who displays an inconceivable, awesome spiritual strength and compassionate power throughout the 10 directions as he rescues and protects beings when things happen to them as they suffer for offenses they have committed. After I pass into nirvana, all of you bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, and all of you gods, dragons, ghosts, spirits, and others should use vast numbers of expedient means to protect this sutra and to cause all beings to realize the bliss of nirvana." After that was said, a bodhisattva named Universally Expansive arose in the assembly, placed his palms together respectfully, and said to the Buddha, "We are now about to witness the world-honored one praise Earth Store Bodhisattva's inconceivably great, awesome spiritual virtue. We hope the world-honored one will also aid beings in the future Dharma ending age by telling us about how Earth Store Bodhisattva benefits people and gods, and about the working out of cause and effect. That will help the gods, dragons, and the rest of the Eightfold Division, along with beings of the future, to receive the Buddha's teaching respectfully." At that time, the world-honored one said to the Bodhisattva Universally Expansive, to the Fourfold Assembly and others, listen attentively. I will briefly describe to you how Earth Store Bodhisattvas' virtuous deeds keep benefiting people and gods." Universally Expansive replied, "Excellent, world-honored one. We are happy to listen." The Buddha told the Bodhisattva Universally Expansive, if, in the future, good men or good women who upon hearing Earth Store Bodhisattva Mahasattva's name, place their palms together, praise him, bow to him, or gaze in worship, they will overcome 30 eons worth of offenses. Universally Expansive, if good men or good women gaze upon and bow but once to painted or drawn images of the Bodhisattva, or images made using clay, stone, lacquer, gold, silver, copper, and iron, they will be reborn 100 times in the heaven of the 33, and will eternally avoid falling into the evil paths. If their blessings in the heavens come to an end, and they are born in the human realm, they will become national leaders who suffer no loss of benefits. There may be women who dislike having female bodies. Suppose they wholeheartedly make offerings to images of Earth Store Bodhisattva that are paintings or are made using clay, stone, lacquer, brass, iron, or other materials. If they continually make such offerings day after day without fail, using flowers, incense, food, drink, clothing, colored silks, banners, money, jewels, and other items as offerings, when those good women finish their current female retributions, then throughout hundreds of thousands of eons, they will never again be born in worlds where there are women, much less be one, unless it be through the strength of their compassionate vows to liberate beings. Based on the strength of their offerings to Earth Store Bodhisattva, and their power of their meritorious virtues. They will not be born into female bodies throughout hundreds of thousands of eons. Moreover, universally expansive, women who are ugly or prone to sickness will dislike those problems. If they gaze at and bow to images of earth-stored bodhisattva with sincere resolve for even just a few minutes, then throughout millions of eons they will always be born with full and perfect features. If those women who are ugly do not dislike having female bodies, then throughout billions of lives they will always be born as women of royal lineage, or will marry into royalty, or will become daughters of prime ministers, prominent families, or great elders. They will be of upright birth and full-featured. They will receive such blessings from having sincerely beheld and worshipped earth-stored bodhisattva. Moreover, universally expansive, there may be good men or good women who are able to play music, sing, or chant praises, and make offerings of incense and flowers before images of the bodhisattva, or who are able to exhort one or more others to do likewise. Now and in the future, such people will be surrounded day and night by hundreds of thousands of ghosts and spirits who will even prevent bad news from reaching their ears, much less allow them to be personally involved in any accidents. Moreover, universally expansive, in the future, evil people, evil spirits, or evil ghosts may see good men or good women taking refuge with, respectfully making offerings to, praising, beholding, and bowing to images of earth-stored bodhisattva. Those beings may make the mistake of ridiculing such acts of worship, saying that they are of no merit. They may sneer at those good people, condemn them behind their backs, or get a group or even one other person to have even as little as one thought of condemnation. Such beings will fall into the Avicii hell, and the extreme misery they will undergo as retribution for their slander will not end even after the 1,000 Buddhas of the worthy eon have passed into tranquility. Only after that eon will they be reborn among the hungry ghosts, where they will pass 1,000 more eons before being reborn as animals. Only after another 1,000 eons will they obtain human bodies, but they will be poor and lowly with incomplete faculties, and their evil karma will cause them to suffer mental afflictions. Before long, they will fall into the evil paths again. Universally expansive, such are the retributions that will undergo those who ridicule and slander others' acts of worship. How much worse will the retributions be if besides their slandering, they have other evil views? Moreover, universally expansive, in the future, men or women may be bedridden for years and in spite of their wishes be unable either to get well or to die. At night they may dream of evil ghosts or of family and relatives or of wandering on dangerous paths. In numerous nightmares they may roam with ghosts and spirits. As days, months, and years go by, such people may weaken and waste away, cry out in pain in their sleep, and become progressively depressed and melancholy. Those things happen when the force of karma has not yet been determined. which makes it difficult for them to die and impossible for them to be cured. The ordinary eyes of men and women cannot recognize such things. In that situation, some people should recite the sutra aloud once before images of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They should also offer possessions which those sick people cherish, such as clothing, jewels, gardens, or houses. They should speak distinctly to the sick people, saying, "Now before this sutra or these images, we are offering these items on behalf of these sick people." They may offer sutras or images, or commission images of Buddhas or Bodhisattvas, or build stupas or monasteries, or light oil lamps, or give to the eternally dwelling. They should tell the sick people 3 times about the offerings that are being made, informing them so they both hear and understand what is being done. If their consciousnesses are already scattered and their breathing has stopped, then for 1, 2, 3, 4, and on through 7 days, others should continue to inform them clearly and to read this sutra aloud. When those people's lives end, they will gain liberation from all heavy and disastrous offenses they committed in previous lives, even offenses warranting 5-fold relentless retribution. They will be born in places where they will always know past lives. How much greater will the karmic reward be if good men or good women can write out this sutra themselves or commission others to do so? If they can carve or paint images themselves or commission others to do so, the benefit they receive will be great indeed. Therefore, universally expansive, if you see people reading and reciting the sutra, or even having a single thought of praise for it, or if you meet someone who reveres it, you should employ hundreds of thousands of expedients to exhort such people to be diligent and not retreat. In both the present and the future, they will be able to obtain billions of inconceivable meritorious virtues. Moreover, universally expansive, beings in the future may, while dreaming or drowsy, see ghosts, spirits, and other forms that are either sad, weeping, or worried, fearful, or terrified. Those are all fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, and relatives from 1, 10, 100, or 1,000 lives past who have not yet been able to leave the bad destinies. They have no place from which to hope for the power of blessings to rescue them, and so they try to communicate with their closest descendants, hoping that those relatives will use some skillful means to help them get out of the evil paths. Universally expansive, using your spiritual powers, exhort those descendants to recite the sutra with sincere resolve before the images of Buddhas or Bodhisattvas, or to request others to recite it either 3 or 7 times. When the sutra has been read aloud the proper number of times, relatives in the evil paths will obtain liberation and never again be seen by those who are dreaming or drowsy. Moreover, universally expansive, people of low station and those who are slaves or who are bonded or who are deprived of their freedom in other ways may be aware of their past deeds and wish to repent of them and to reform. If while beholding and bowing to Earth-stored Bodhisattva's image with sincere resolve for 7 days, they are able to recite his name a full 10,000 times, then when their current retribution ends, those people will always be born into wealth and honor for thousands' lives. How much the more will they avoid any of the sufferings of the 3 evil paths? Moreover, universally expansive, in the future in Jambudvipa, when the wives of Kshatriyas, Brahmins, elders, Upasakas, and those of other names and clans are about to give birth to sons or daughters, the family members should recite this inconceivable sutra and recite the Bodhisattva's name a full 10,000 times during the 7 days before the birth of their children. If those infants, whether male or female, were destined to undergo a terrible retribution for things done in past lives, they will be liberated from those retributions. They will be peaceful, happy, easily raised, and will have long lives. If those children were due to receive blessings, then their peace and happiness will increase, as will their lifespans. Moreover, universally expansive, on the 1st, 8th, 14th, 15th, 18th, 23rd, 24th, 28th, 29th, and 30th days of the lunar month, the offenses of beings are tabulated and their gravity assessed. Every single movement or stirring of thought on the part of beings of Jambudvipa creates karma and offenses. How much more is that the case when they blatantly indulge in killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, false speech, and hundreds of thousands of other kinds of overt offenses. If they are able to recite this sutra once on those 10 vegetarian days before the images of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, or worthy one and sages, then there will be no disasters for within a radius of 100 yojanas. The relatives of those who recite, both old and young, now and in the future, will be apart from the evil paths throughout hundreds of thousands of years. If they can recite the sutra once on each of these 10 vegetarian days, then there will be no accidents or illnesses in the family, and there will be food and clothing in abundance. Universally expansive, you should know of the beneficial deeds done by Earth-Store Bodhisattva as he makes use of his indescribably many billions of great awesome spiritual powers. The beings of Jambudvipa have strong affinities with this Bodhisattva. If they hear the Bodhisattva's name, see the Bodhisattva's image, or hear but a few words, a verse, or a sentence of the sutra, then they will enjoy particularly wonderful peace and happiness in this present life. Through hundreds of thousands of 10,000s of future lives, they will always be handsome or beautiful, and they will be born into honorable and wealthy families. Having heard the Buddha thus come one praise Earth-Store Bodhisattva in that way, universally expansive Bodhisattva knelt, placed his palms together, and again addressed the Buddha, saying, "World-honored one, I have long known that this Bodhisattva has both inconceivable spiritual powers and mighty vows. I have questioned the Thus Come One so that beings in the future will know of these benefits. I receive this answer most respectfully. World Honored One, how should this sutra be titled and how should we propagate it? The Buddha said to Universally Expansive, this sutra has 3 titles. The first is The Past Vows of Earth Store Bodhisattva. It is also called Earth Store's Past Conduct, and it is called Sutra of the Power of Earth Store's Past Vows. Because this Bodhisattva repeatedly makes such great and mighty vows throughout long eons to benefit beings, you should all propagate this sutra in accord with his vows. After Universally Expansive had heard that, he placed his palms together respectfully, made obeisance, and withdrew.